Like many people, I was playing Atomic Heart and realized that I cannot play this game on my TV or without headphones because of how interesting some things are in this game. Like how the fridge is even after you.
Oh, what a stud! I can't get enough of you, Jocks. Let me tie you to the bed, baby.
Please stop harassing me. It was a bit funny at first, but over time I found it quite annoying as I had to check my door every 5 minutes to make sure no one was nearby. But that's when I started to question why all of this was in the game, and specifically, what purpose do the twins have in this game? And I'm not talking about the fact that one of the characters in the game made them for his own reasons. I'm talking about the actual image of them and their appearances in trailers, which led me to believe that Atomic Hearts' twins were not made as characters for this game, but were made to trick you into buying the game, and all of this can be proven through math and psychology. Now, going into the math, is the math in this video completely accurate? Probably not. I am not MatPat. I don't have the wisdom this man holds. And besides, I'm doing this more for my interest in confirming that Atomic Heart used the twins' bodies to sell you the game, even though that's pretty obvious when looking at the trailers. So to start out with getting measurements, we first have to find something to use as a ruler. And as it turns out, one of our twins is standing right next to a red velvet rope barrier. So we can use this for our calculations, as the standard height of a single barrier for a 6-foot rope is 38 inches. Now, when comparing the barrier to their height, you get about 76 inches, about 6'4", which makes sense as the robots are about a head taller than our main character, who, if we use the average male height in 1955 when this game takes place, should be around 68 inches, or 5'8". And according to a recent study, tall women were seen as more attractive, while shorter women were seen as more motherly or caring. This directly plays into the twins' height as they are around 6'4", being, well, quite tall. Now moving away from height, we need to figure out their bra size. Yes, it's weird, I'm uncomfortable too. The cup size measurements are 11.78 inches by 8.36 inches, but of course, a person's body is not a square, it is more like an oval. So if we convert this into an ellipse and take the circumference of this by dividing our two numbers in half and calculating with those, you get a circumference of 31.364 inches. You do the same thing with band size and get the measurements of 9.88 inches by 7.22 inches. Divide by 2 and get the circumference to get a band size of 27.023 inches. Using this chart, we can then figure out that a twin's bra size is about 30B or 30C, which is yet again exactly what men and women in this research study thought was the ideal or most attractive. Did you notice the pattern, or do you need more proof? Well, according to another recent study, most men and women like a ratio in the range of 0.6 to 0.7 for waist circumference to hip circumference. We now have to find the circumference of each, with the waist having measurements of 8.74 by 6.08 inches. You yet again find the circumference of an ellipse, resulting in a waist circumference of 23.467 inches. You do the same thing with the hip measurements of 14.44 by 7.98 inches and get a hip circumference of 35.95 inches. Dividing these two numbers over each other gives us a ratio of, drumroll please, 0.65, exactly in the middle of our range in preference of 0.6 to 0.7, following the pattern seen in our other two measurements of being exactly what is considered ideal or most attractive. Using this information, we can confirm that Atomic Heart actively went out of their way to create these twins for the sole purpose of looking good and being the most attractive. But now what? Well, first I want to just give a small statement about these measurements. Every study used in this video is about the ideal and most attractive body, but a lot of these measurements are unrealistic and are not attainable by the average human being. And heck, things like this can even cause unhealthy standards for both men and women. But that unrealisticness is what ultimately sold the game to you. Yes, they look good. Yes, they are attractive. Yes, it sometimes feels like I'm forcing myself to play this game just so I can see them one more time. But they were manufactured to be that way, not by the in-game character who created them, but by the developers as a smart tactic to sell the game through its use of these twins. Notice how in every trailer the twins are heavily present, but when playing the game they are present for no more than 20 minutes? Well, this is actually nothing more than subconsciously tricking you to buy the game by heavily using their scenes in the trailers. This can be proven in a study conducted by the Frontiers in Neuroscience. Volunteers were given the option to choose between two products, one with a utilitarian box, which contains info and is more informative of the product's material, and one with a hedonic box, which contains more, exciting things. When choosing which product to purchase, the answers heavily lean towards buying the hedonic product, even if they don't specifically say that that is the reason for their purchase, or if they realize it at all. Meaning that despite not realizing it, they chose the product with interesting imagery on it exactly because of its appeal. Need more proof? During this test, an EEG was taken for each test subject, and even subconsciously, these people were already deciding on which product to get. And you could probably guess which product the majority subconsciously chose, and that was the hedonic product. So even if you think you don't care for the twins, though it's hard not to, you still subconsciously factored it in when buying the game with their interesting imagery being on full display, tricking your brain into wanting to buy it despite having no interest. And it gets even better. In an age where games can get popular through social media, the scenes containing the twins in the trailers are actually in the perfect format for TikTok and other social media, which resulted in the attractive character blowing up on TikTok. The player sees the character on TikTok, then is intrigued by it even if they swipe past in disinterest, and then subconsciously want to buy the game. When combined all together, this is the way that Atomic Heart's twins tricked you into buying the game, all because of their manufactured attractive bodies along with your psychology as a human being, concluding that these twins weren't engineered to just be robots, but were engineered to farm those clicks, those views, and those wallets. But that's just a theory. A game!